Good morning, everyone. My name is Esther Mukuka, NIHR Director of Research Inclusion, and I am thrilled to welcome you to today's launch event of the first NIHR's Policy on Sex and Gender in Research. We are delighted to have such a fantastic turnout today with over 1,000 people who have signed up to the event, and we are grateful for you joining us today, and we hope that with such a fantastic turnout, we would have engaging discussions with plenty of insightful questions. So I'm going to say a little bit about today's event. As I mentioned earlier, we're launching the NIHR's first sex and gender and research policy. And our requirements for the sex and gender research policy will come into force later in 2025 to ensure that sex and gender are fully accounted for in health and care research at the NIHR. This event couldn't be more timely as we have just celebrated International Women's Day this past weekend. This year's theme, Accelerate Action, highlights the urgency of taking bold and decisive steps towards gender equality and breaking down systemic barriers. This message aligns perfectly with the important work NIHR is doing to drive gender equality forward. So, why does this matter? Sex and gender play fundamental roles in a person's or population's experience of health, illness, and social health and social care. For a long time, sex and gender has remained underrepresented within research. And NIHR has a responsibility to ensure that the research we fund is rigorous, reproducible, and benefits all of population. So this is why it is important that we are launching this policy at the NIHR. Before we start, I should say a few things about the NIHR for those of you who may not be familiar with the NIHR. So here's a quick explanation of who we are. At the NIHR, we fund, we enable, and deliver world-leading health and social care research that improves people's health and well-being while also driving economic growth. A key tenet of our work is inclusion. We firmly believe at the NIHR that inclusive science is better science, ensuring that medicines and treatments are effective for everyone. Equitable access to research is vital, not only for providing early access to treatments, but also for addressing pressing clinical needs, health priorities, and health and care inequalities. By making research more inclusive, we can create a healthier, fairer future for all. Today, we're privileged to welcome an exceptional lineup of speakers who bring not only deep expertise and lived experience, but also a strong commitment to advancing inclusion within health and care and beyond. They will offer unique insights on the importance of sex and gender inclusion in research. So, I'll say a little bit by way of introducing our panel members, and then I'll say a little bit after that about how the session will run. Our first speaker today is our very own Dr. Gail Mazzetti, Director of Science, Research and Evidence at the Department of Health and Social Care, and also Deputy CEO of the NIHR. After Gail's talk, we've got Professor G.J. Melendez-Torres, who is Professor of Clinical and Social Epidemiology at the University of Exeter and Associate Dean for Researcher Inclusion at the NIHR. We're also pleased to welcome Caroline Criado Perez, author of Invisible Women and broadcaster. It's important for me to note at this point that for those who are watching the recording of the event, this session will not be recorded. At 11:30, and this will be after our break, Dame Leslie Regan will be taking the floor. Dame Leslie Regan is Women's Health Ambassador for England and Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Imperial College. And finally, we'll have Dr. Kate Wormsley, doctor in psychiatry, research fellow and co-principal investigator of the Message Project at the George Institute, Imperial College. Like I say, an impressive lineup of speakers for us today. So, how will the sessions run? We'll begin by hearing from our panels and from our panel members, and our speakers will have approximately 20 minutes to speak. After that, we will have some time to take questions from the audience, and I'm sure that our audience will have several questions, which should make for an engaging panel discussion. To ask a question, please use the chat function on the screen, and please just type your questions. We will do our possible best to ensure that we can go through as many questions, but I apologize in advance that we may not be able to answer every question that comes through. To ensure that everyone has a comfort break, please know that there will be a break at 11:10 for 10 minutes, and we will return at 11:20, where Dame Leslie Regan will kick us off again.